Quick context, this was recorded March 28th and 29th, so a couple of weeks ago at my live event, SaaSopen.com. We had 1,000 software CEOs there. If you missed it, we hope to see you at the next one, September 5th and 6th in New York City, SaaSopen.com. But for now, let's jump into the recording.
So my name is Yaroslav. I run a company called Railsware. We're doing a lot of stuff with data, and then I'll show you the subtle art of it. So I've been 23 years in a pro tech, so basically working for technology companies and money. Wrote my first code when I was 10 years old. Engineer by heart. They make us drop some numbers in here. So the company is like evaluated with 100+ million, and it's 200 people. Altogether, a bit more than 200 people. We grew 5 times in the last 5 years, specifically because of the data. The relevant experience is one of the products that we run, a SaaS product, is called Coupler. It helps you move your data around and figure out your data. So that's where basically the information about this presentation goes from. There's some consultancy that we're doing, including data consultancy. As the guy said before, like it's really great to onboard people into this thing, because when you see a blank sheet and you're like, go do your data, it's actually pretty hard. There's a practical approach how to kind of make you see what is it that you're working with, and then I'm going to share it with you, and then take your ideas that you think are happening within your business in a lot of different areas and map them with the reality, and actually look at them all the time. Data is not about looking at it one time, data is about doing it all the time. And share the lessons that we had across the time. I'm trying to figure out who I'm speaking with. So who's doing analytics, who's working with data kind of on a daily basis? Can you raise your hand? Okay, and then who are the CFOs in here maybe? Or CEOs? And founders? Who's everyone else? Where is it? CROs. Okay, got it. Okay. So this is the team growth, specifically when we were starting to tap into data and pushing the gas in the last few years. And this is the evaluation growth. And I'll take it to my first part. So my data path, I'm an engineer. I was writing software. I was super happy. Until the time when it was the time to raise people's salaries, and I needed to know our revenue for sure. At that time, we were a consultancy company, so our revenue was supposed to be time multiplied by rate equals revenue. And what happened is that I multiplied time by rate, it didn't equal revenue. We were like $120,000 short, and there was a lot back then in the time when we started. We were a much smaller company. So I looked into the numbers and I was trying to figure out what happened. And the finance accounting lady did a sum of B2 to B4 rather than B2 to B5. So she skipped in one line. And overall, across all the invoices, we lost $120,000. At that day, I lost trust in humanity, specifically in accounting people and finance people and people that do sums in Excel. Like, this is definitely not the way the software is being built. And having it done in finances, one of the most important functions that everyone is trying to stash away, it's a really bad idea, right? And then at that day, an analyst was born within me. I was reborn, and we became a data company, and probably a bit overly data company, because now we have about 600 dashboards that we look into. Then the second thing was when our CFO was paying. So we're a remote company, and we have people in 26 countries right now. Back then, it was 20 countries. It was super hard to pay the payroll to everyone. And she was paying it basically for 10 to 15 days every month. And then she was getting sick because it was so frustrating and stressing. So we turned it into a data process. We build up the data, data flows around it, dashboards, something I'll tell you a bit more about. And then now we're doing it in 4 hours instead of 15 days. That was kind of a second big thing that pushed us into data. And the third one was, it was very hard to figure out exactly where we stand when you have a generic P&L. Where does every product stand? How much profit does it have? There's shared services that you have to split between processes. It was really hard to figure that out. And then we built a a hyper detailed P&L that actually showed all of that. And I did it myself at the time using kind of our product and some other products. And that helped to understand that you really need to understand your data if you are growing a lot, so that you can push the gas into the pedal. You need to know where the floor is, so you can floor it rather than underdo it or overdo it and kill your company, right? And so those three things kind of pushed me into a direction that you need to become a spider of what is it that you're doing, and you need to understand how your data works like, and we'll go into it in a sec. And then the art of how to manage the data, because it's great when you see all those dashboards, but where do they come from? How do you build them, right? And we're going to go into it. So this is the payroll nightmare that happened. She was spending like 12 hours per person, and then after the automation, it dropped into like 5 and 3 hours per person. Now we're a much bigger company. We're just leveraging our automation much better. So basically, I did tell you about the 20K deal that pushed into data. So everyone has those horror cases where you actually understand that you're going into a very different direction that you were supposed to be going. And then basically you need to from that moment on, it's better to create your own data. We'll jump into that. So we went through so basically P&L is a very interesting case. So our P&L was spread between the payroll, we had multiple entities in multiple countries, multiple accounting software. We were transitioning from one software to the other. And it pays off to combine all of it together, unify it, and to create yourself a data that you can trust in. Most of that is being done with a data analyst, of course. And build a foundation model with which you can reflect of what's happening like within your organization, and have an ability to drill down and actually see kind of the insights of where you're at. So this is something I looked at every day. This dashboard is basically, it contains everything that I as a CEO look at. And this is the dashboard that I built for myself. This is my spider web that I kind of gain control through. It's a spreadsheet, and it gives you flexibility to understand your own data. Everyone can do spreadsheets on some level, and you can basically create a base model for what can be useful for you, instead of just working with an analyst, and we'll go into that in a sec. This is like a typical setup that I have where there's a lot of monitors. You can step back, and then you can see the correlations of what's happening within your business around multiple dashboards of them. But the main one, you should have your main one that you refresh every day, and then you'll get a sense of it. And there's some more stuff. As I said, we have 600 dashboards. I don't have 600 slides, but one of them is the employee satisfaction, and the other one is time tracking, and basically where do people, what is the quality of time tracking in the company. So how to become a spider of your own data. So whatever you think is important to you, you can break it down in using extraction tools, and you have to place it in front of you. You need a place where your reality, the reality of your world, is going to reflect it using some hopefully color-coded data. And it's actually very easy to start. It's much easier to start than everyone realizes. And you should always redesign your data for your visibility. If you're going to use data tools that you need to filter in order to answer some of your questions that you have, you're going to lose yourself. You will basically go what your intuition tells you rather than follow the answers that you might have if you pack your data correctly. And all of your executives need their own data. So if you have a head of product, he needs to look at the product data. He needs to look at the churn data, activation data, everything important for the product. If you have the HR people, they need to look at how their funnel goes through and what is happening within the funnel. If they look at it every day, they will get an intuitive sense of what's happening under their part of the business. And basically, then you can take the data from your execs and combine it into something that you look at every day. And it'll create an intuitive sense for you on how to run the business. It is actually easy to start. Everyone knows Excel and spreadsheets, as I said. It's easy to start. You just use data extraction tools, like one of them is our product coupler. There's a lot of them in the market, depending on what you need. And you're pulling somewhat aggregated data into your spreadsheet, and then you just combine it in the way you want to see it. And you place it. Spreadsheet is a great canvas. It's like drawing a picture. So basically, you take the data and you place it into a proper part of where is it that you want to see it. And then you add up to it and create a base model of what is it that you would like to see. The next step is working with a data analyst. So very often what we see and mistake is that people start working with data analysts and none of them know what needs to be done. The data analyst doesn't understand fully. You don't understand fully what you want, but then and this combination of a pair is somehow explosive. So you're getting frustrated because you don't see what you want, but that's because you yourself don't know what is it that you're trying to extract yourself. Okay, so and then the first it's better to go back to the first step and try to extract some of the data, even dummy data, and then drop it onto a spreadsheet for yourself to look into it and to actually understand the model that you would like to look at. And then you can proceed with the analyst and basically work with him to do a long-term kind of stable foundation that is built on something that you wanted to build from. Okay, and then there's a trick that helped us a lot, specifically in the spreadsheet. It's called the 3D data. It's when you have your numbers. You might not fully know where they come from, but then you combine them into this kind of just text within the spreadsheet. And we have a blog post about it, how to do it. This saved us a lot because when you combine your own data and then you show it, you're able to see the underlying information that came from this, and you are able to parse it with your eyes quickly, and again build the intuitive understanding of where does it come from and what does it mean. And basically that's it. So I'm seducing everyone to go into building your own spider web, into creating a visibility for yourself of what is it that you need. It'll take time. You'll build it over time, but it will become something that basically you want to check either multiple times a day or just every day. Then always redesign your data for visibility. So if the business changes, your reality changes, and then your priorities and interests also changes. So don't be lazy and kind of redo it in a way that you get exactly what you want to see, and then make your execs do the same thing. And then every time you synchronize about something with an exec, you're actually looking at reality, and you don't spend time of going over like slide decks, presentations, or just agenda items that are not that important. You look at the reality of your business that is being refreshed all the time, and then start with a spreadsheet and data extraction tools. Extract it and play with it until you create a basic model. And then this basic model can then be extended with data analysts, or if you don't have them in the company, just some freelancers. And use the 3D data shape. It's a bit tricky, but if you scan the QR code and send me a note if you're interested, we're going to send you the blog post when it's out, just so that those spreadsheets are just easier to start with. And that's it.
Hey folks, if we haven't met yet, my name is Nathan Latka. I launched and sold my first software company back in 2015 and went on to write a book about it, which you guys made a Wall Street Journal bestseller, purchasing over 30,000 copies. Thank you so much for that. After the book, I launched this show and went on to create founderpath.com. I raised a large fund to do non-dilutive deals with B2B software founders. So far, we've invested in over 400 software founders, totaling $150 million. Here in 2024, we're doing 3 to 4 new deals per week. So if you're looking for capital and don't want to give up equity, go sign up at founderpath.com for free to get your offer.